Welcome back for another video. Hope you all had a good Gameweek team. We're back with another upload just after the Gameweek's conclusion to look at how the Gameweek20 team's looking and the transfer plans this week. Got 2 free transfers, so a minimum of 1 to be spent this week. Let's start with a quick look back at how last Gameweek went for the team. 46 points all out, enough for a green arrow to 93k overall, just inside the top 100k for the first time this season. A disappointing blank from Gordon, who came in for the suspended Palmer into the starting 11, and he picked up a yellow card for a 1-pointer. Newcastle have been run ragged recently, and they've been riddled with injuries, and the fixtures only get worse from here. A blank from Salah and their 2-0 win over Burnley. I don't know about you, but it's been a tough season for captaincy for me. 11 out of 19 successful picks, including 4 blanks in the last 5. Overall, averaging 13.4 points per captain per game week, which isn't too bad though. The table's from PremierFantasyTools.com if you want to look up your captaincy success rate. Not sponsored, just a really good free tool. Success elsewhere in the team though, with Trent delivering an 8-pointer, and he took maximum bonus despite a booking. Bournemouth's 20-month wait for a penalty finally came to an end, and Solanke scored from the spot. Alvarez also scored from the spot against Everton, and in this case he snatched a couple of bonus points. Big relief to see he scored. I picked him up for an extra hit just before the blank game week, hoping to get something that week, or at least this one. And I'm trying to stay ahead of the curve, as I imagine he'll be a popular transfer in for Gameweek 20. So let's run through the team and the transfer plans for Gameweek 20. It's a dire situation in goal. It's either Turner versus Man United or Dubravka versus Liverpool. Straightforward decision who to start though. Turner starts, and it is at least a home fixture for him. Forest will be delighted with a 3-1 away win over Newcastle last match. I am strongly considering a goalkeeper transfer this week though. With 1.7 mil on the bank, there's the opportunity to sell either keeper for absolutely any keeper in the game. More on that later. The back three is Pedro Porro, Trent and Saliba. Romero's injury is bad news for us Porro owners. It was bad enough with Van de Ven sidelined, and it's hard to predict any clean sheets over the next 5, maybe 1 or 2 their max. Though we don't have Porro purely for the clean sheet potential obviously. Since Maddison's injury, he's been on set pieces, and over that run, he and Trent are about as good as even for expected goal involvement, 0.01 separating the two. It shows just how great he's been when their underlying numbers are basically the same, and Trent's actually back an additional 2.8 mil. His 16 shots taken over that run is top in the league among all defenders. Trent's home to Newcastle next game week. Some have speculated that he might struggle in Salah's absence during AFCON, but Klopp was boosted by the return of Jota last match, who scored off the bench. I like to think it'll be a negligible effect on him. Jota's so good in the air as well, so more of a target man for Trent to aim at. If you caught the players to buy video earlier, Trent is actually top among all defenders with projected points this week. Saliba travels to Fulham, whose goals have dried up recently. 5 goals scored in both Gameweek 15 and 16, but no goals in the 3 games since. Arsenal have been given a 38% chance of a clean sheet for this one, which ranks 3rd after Man City and Villa. Onto the midfield, which is Son, Salah, Palmer and Saka. Looking at the midfield, right here is why only one of the 2 free transfers is going to be spent this week. It's the last game we get out of Son and Salah before they'll be away for the Asian Cup and AFCON. Their return date is going to be dependent on how far they progress. They could be back as early as Gameweek 22 or as late as Gameweek 26. There's also the need for flexibility to get Haaland back if he's fit for Gameweek 21. So let's hope for a good send-off from these two, and hopefully international duty is not at the back of their heads too much. Obviously the last thing they'll want is to pick up an injury now. Salah gets the vice-captaincy. It's a really hard one to call this week, and referring back to the earlier chart, I need to start nailing some captains. Newcastle are rock bottom for expected goals conceded over the last 6 game weeks, so there is a lot to suggest Salah for captaincy. Not totally settled on this one, but for now he'll be the vice-captain. The plan is to sell Salah in Gameweek 21, and then Bowen, Richarlison and Ødegaard are the candidates in consideration. If Haaland's back, then a decision to make on which 4 to sacrifice for him as well. Palmer's back after serving his suspension, and he'll now need 10 yellow cards for a 2-match suspension. After 19 games played, it changes to 10 yellows needed, so Bournemouth, Brentford, Luton and Man City are 1 behind everyone else due to their postponements. Chelsea have got a great run of games still, so it's surprising that around 60,000 have sold him this week. More rank game for the rest of us if he delivers anyway. In fact, if we pull up the fixture ticker tool on FPL.page, Chelsea are top among all teams for the next 5 game weeks. Saka completes the midfield. For all the talk of Arsenal's drop off in attack, surprisingly Saka's got more points than he did at this point last season, which is odd as many of us were captaining last season. Despite the lack of returns, he has to be a hold for now. In fact, I can see many opting for a double up with Ødegaard even, as a Son and Salah replacement. The front 3 is Alvarez, Solanke and Watkins. Solanke's already scored twice as many goals as last season, and it's only halfway through this season. This season, Haaland's first for expected goals among all players with 14.8 xG, and then it's Salah with 11.6, and then it's Solanke with 10.5. Underlines just how impressive he's been, and he's a bargain for 7 mil with the current output. Haaland's return is going to be a massive headache as far as which forward to sell. The default answer would be Alvarez, but if we get a double gaming announcement from Man City, it's going to be a tricky one to optimise. There is of course the Bournemouth vs Luton postponement as well for Solanke, but there's less pressure for that one to be rescheduled. Watkins is home to Burnley this week. Something perhaps a bit overlooked is recovery time during this period. This graphic is from Lego Mane and he's colour coded the recovery times nicely. We're all aware that these are elite athletes with peak fitness, but recovery time is a factor. Villa have got 3 days recovery. Arsenal, Man City and Spurs notably only get 2 days. Liverpool got the most recovery of 5 days, as do Newcastle though. So it could be just enough to look beyond Son for captaincy with such little recovery, and Bournemouth getting an extra 2 days. That brings us to Alvarez then. Just the 2 days for City. Sheffield United only getting 1 day more though. The captain armband is on Alvarez as it stands. I've got a slight gut feeling that Salah and Son won't haul this game week. It wouldn't be at all surprising if Newcastle show up with a defensively sound performance, and they need a statement result now. It also wouldn't be surprising if Bournemouth give Spurs a tough time given their recent performances, and Spurs missing both centre backs. So Alvarez is leaping out as a massive opportunity to bet against Salah and Son for 1 week. He was swapping roles with Foden during the Everton game, so he's not leading the line at all times whatsoever, but we know he's on pens, takes corners and free kicks. That does also mean that Foden could be an awesome pick this week. Although Sheffield United have improved under Wilder, Man City will surely be far too much for them to handle. Sheffield United visit the Etihad off the back of a 3-2 home defeat to Luton. The bench is Dubravka, Gordon, Pinnock and Tsimikas. Gordon a solid option to have first on the bench just in case, as is Pinnock just behind him. This is where the transfers need to be careful though. Tsimikas is the obvious issue in the team, he's out for a while. However, it's not a pressing move. Trent's going to be a permanent starter. Saliba will be as well, perhaps with the exception of the Liverpool game. And I wouldn't feel comfortable benching Porro at any point either. So in theory, I can take a chance with Pinnock as a depth option in defence, at least for a couple of game weeks. If I were to sell Tsimikas, then Gusto's a great pick for 4.1 mil. Played fantastic against Palace and he finished with an 8-pointer. In fact, he matched Trent's points for less than half the price. So with 1.7 mil in the bank, there's enough money to sell Gordon for any midfielder for 7.6 mil or less. Foden leaps out as an option here for exactly that much. Douglas Luiz and Sterling a little bit cheaper in options as well. However, bringing in a midfielder does force benching one of the starting 11 here, and they all look fine for next game week. Therefore, the current plan is Turner to Ederson. I can imagine the comments now, but hear me out. It's just about as good as any fixture comes up next, home to Sheffield United. If I can take the 6 points and run, that's a good start, and I'd be surprised if Dubravka or Turner keep a clean sheet this week. City also have Burnley Gameweek 22, which feels like another potential week to take the 6 points and run. Ederson does have a bit of a habit of conceding more than he should though. The alternative option is to get Raya and save 0.6 mil, but it does block getting Ødegaard or another Arsenal mid. There's also the postponement versus Brentford for Man City to be rearranged still. I noticed by chance on Man City's website they've put the fixture as a TBC after the Newcastle game in January. It was previously shown on December. It could mean absolutely nothing, but it could be a hint at a double Gameweek 21, which would mean Newcastle away and then Brentford home. It may not be Gameweek 21 though, but we can expect the double Gameweek to come in the not too distant future either way, Gameweek 25 next likeliest. Lastly, Ederson's not a permanent starter in the team. There is still Dubravka on the bench to use when City have got tougher fixtures, so it's not set and forget Ederson. I've been burned before rotating goalkeepers, but at least this combination is much cheaper than the infamous Kepa and Ederson rotation. Man City have been given a 59% chance of a clean sheet on FPL review, next highest is Villa at 43%. The second free transfer will be rolled into Gameweek 21 with a view to bring Haaland straight back in if he's available at the sacrifice of Salah. Tomorrow morning we'll be back with the experts video, so make sure you subscribe and to follow the content. There's a couple of wildcards active which we'll run through. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.